Hey, Dallas Moms friends. It is Emily, and I am so excited. I love to do these videos. I love to introduce y'all to all my new friends that I make through Dallas Moms. And we are going to be talking about a fun thing like what's so important about a baby monitor. And then, like, what in the world are you supposed to think about when you're looking for one? So I brought in an expert. Please meet my new friend, Kevin with Harbor. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about baby monitors and what we're looking to build and help parents with.
Yay. Okay, so let's kind of get the introductions here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your, like, who the heck are you and why do you know so much about baby monitors? That's what we want to know.
That's the question on everyone's mind. Yeah. I've been in Dallas now for something like 20 years. I came out, I got a scholarship to SMU. That's what brought me out to this great city and chose it to live and raise our family here. My background, I started a clothing company called Mizzen in Maine, Dallas-based company. We sponsor a lot of events around Dallas. So hopefully everyone's seen us. We got a store in West Village and out in South Lake as well. And had an amazing experience and ride there. I'm still chairman of the board there. We've got a great team running that company. But about 2 years ago, I set out to build a better baby monitor. And the reason is because my wife and I had our first son, Jack, 7 years ago. And our daughter, Laura Marie, we call her Lala. She's 5. Jack's in first grade and Lala's in pre-K. And we had an alarming experience when Jack was shortly after he was born and we brought him home. We had a Nanit camera in his nursery, and Nanit is a Wi-Fi camera that runs an app on your phone. And I woke up one morning to discover that the app on my phone had crashed, and it's supposed to run the audio from the camera all night long in the background, but the app crashed. And when an app crashes, I learned it can't alert you that it's crashed because it crashed. And so we went out and bought an old school Motorola camera and an old school Motorola monitor and ran two systems, one for the reliability of the dedicated monitor and one with Wi-Fi, because if you go out to dinner with a babysitter or you got a nanny, you want to be able to look in and make sure your kid's okay. And so I have done an enormous amount of research and tried to learn everything about, what's good and what's bad and what is possible when it comes to baby monitors and how we can help parents and kids get more sleep. And so after a couple of years of research and a couple of years of building, we've launched Harbor to be the system that helps create happier parents and healthier families one restful night at a time.
You really pulled me in when you said parents get more sleep. So there we go.
Central to our mission. We want to restore sleep and sanity.
Absolutely central to the mission. Okay.
Yeah.
So we also have an article as well. I put a link in the description box and y'all can reference that later too. And we'll even throw this video in the article so we're all happy together. But we talk about in the article a few things, and these are kind of important tips I thought would be fun to chat about.
Yeah.
And that is what you actually think is important in a baby monitor. Because yes, my kids are older. I have elementary school age kids, but I absolutely remember feeling the sense of overwhelm,
Yes.
particularly whenever it's your first go and you're a first time parent and you're trying to sort through, what really is something that I need and something that's going to keep my kiddos safe, help
Yes.
me relax, help
Yes.
me be the best parent I can. And then what's all this other kind of like fluff that I don't need? Like, do I need a bottle warmer or a wax warmer? I don't know. Okay. So let's talk a little about, you mentioned in the article 5 things that you really do need to consider whenever you're shopping for a baby monitor. And the very first one is reliability. So talk a little bit about what you mean about that.
So when it comes to electronics, there are a lot of kind of fly-by-the-night companies. You can go onto Amazon and you can buy everything from a $20 to a $200 whatever on Amazon. But they're not necessarily quality devices that you can know have been built with the intentionality and the kind of robust nature of how complex electronics and software systems really are. And so, it's kind of like foundational level. You want to know that you can trust the product, who made it, where was it made, is it quality, And therefore, can you rely on that product? And we can talk about, what you're relying on and what the features are that are necessary. But we think that kind of combination of quality and reliability are interchangeable. And unfortunately, there are a lot of products out there that are just, again, fly by the night companies selling stuff on Amazon. You go, oh, that seems like it's pretty good. It's got whatever 500 reviews. Everyone knows you can fake reviews, and there are all sorts of ways that companies are kind of selling scam products. And so I would really just focus in on what's the company, who's behind the company, is it reliable, where's the product made, and what are they doing to help you understand why you can rely on that product.
So you talked a little bit about the whole issue, like with Wi-Fi, whenever it goes out, and a lot of these newfangled things the kids are
Yeah.
using has a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
Wi-Fi, accessibility on it. So how have you, because I can see that is a pretty big problem,
Yes.
how have y'all been able to work around that without losing the benefits of like current tech?
Yeah, so this comes into in the article the second and third piece, which is the ability to have those fail-safe notifications, not relying on Wi-Fi, not relying on things that can fail you, and also the ability to check in from afar and look in on the nanny and look in on the babysitter, look in on, the grandparents watching the kid, make sure that they didn't accidentally leave a blanket in the crib. Like those are things that you want to be able to have all of those features. And so the fundamental underlying technology that we built here, and I've got one of our monitors here. This is one of our 10-inch monitors, beautiful tablet where you can watch up to 4 different kids at the same time. Our camera and our tablet connect directly to each other without internet and without using any other Wi-Fi systems. And so if you travel and go to a hotel, they will work directly with each other, which no other system, no other Wi-Fi system can do. If your internet goes down, we've all had that time where we're at home and AT&T or Comcast cut a line somewhere and your internet's gone. Routers can fail. All of those systems, we've said, don't worry about any of those. The camera and the tablet connect directly to each other, just like the old school Motorola, Infant Optics, Vava, all the old school systems where it's like the big bulbous camera and then like the teeny little monitor where you can kind of hardly see anything. But those connect directly to each other. So you're not relying on Wi-Fi, you're not relying on the internet, you're not relying on any of those things. And really, one of the core benefits of having a dedicated monitor is that if the signal is lost, your monitor is going to alert you, hey, I no longer have connection to the camera. And fundamentally, Wi-Fi based cameras and apps, you can't rely on that. So we talk about reliability being number one. The second is if you forget to plug it in, which Lord knows we've all done, or you go to plug something in and the cord's frayed or the outlet's dead or you didn't turn the switch on. If your phone dies and you're looking to rely on an app on your phone, well, your phone can't tell you I'm going to die. That's not the way that phones work. And apps can't override phone settings to say, hey, phone, tell them that you're dying. So the dedicated device and the fact that they connect directly to each other is fundamental to kind of what we've built. But then also, both the camera and the tablet or monitor have Wi-Fi radios in them so they can connect to the cloud if that's an option. So when you're at home and your internet's working and your router's working, well, it'll use your internet and your router. But if your internet or router goes down, or again, you're traveling, then you don't have to rely on those. And we wanted to give people the best of both worlds. Technology should make our lives better. But when I'm having to monitor my monitoring and wonder if things are in, now my anxiety is increasing, and that makes it harder to sleep. And a lot of these Wi-Fi camera companies, they sell baby biometric devices where they're trying to get you to track your kid's heart rate and all these things, even though they're not medical devices. That increases anxiety in parenting. It makes it harder to sleep. And Lord knows we all need sleep anyway, especially when we're raising young kids that demand so much and deserve so much of the best of us, that when we're not sleeping, man, that's all the harder to do.
Those are all really great points, and I love the option that you have for traveling, particularly as we're about to head into the very busy vacation travel
Yeah.
season. But also kind of the flexibility it can give you with, like, purchasing one thing that you need and it can go to grandma's house if it needs
Yes.
to, or it can go, like having that portability, I think is really awesome. Um, what would you say, um, like what kind of features? So if someone gets this and they're going to hook it up, like what are they able to do? Like they can see their child's rooms. You said you could hook up to 4 different cameras. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
other kind of options do you have with the monitor?
So some basically anything that you can think of with a normal baby monitor. We have those features and more. The one thing that we will not do is try and sell parents a baby biometric device. And just again repeating, baby biometric device. You strap something to their chest, you put something on their foot, or you've got a clip that you attach to their sleep sack or pajamas. All of those devices are trying to tell you, well, they attempt to tell you whether or not your child is still breathing. Unfortunately, none of those devices can be relied upon. They all have massive disclaimers that are required by law to say that you actually can't really rely on any of these devices. So we can do everything except that, because those things are not reliable, and ultimately they're not good for parents or kids. Um, so some of the really cool features, again, you can watch up to 4 different kids at the same time. This is a 10-inch tablet with 2K resolution, really high quality device where you're going to be able to see your child. And for someone who hasn't yet bought a baby monitor, it's, I like to joke. My parents' baby monitor for me was a box fan outside my door, and that's the way a lot of us were raised. But today we use baby monitors, and I will say, I know I'm selling baby monitors, but there is a huge benefit to being able to look into your child's room without opening that door. Because whether your child is 6 months old or 4 years old, as soon as you open the door, you are in that room and they want you and they're going to engage with you. And it could be an hour before you leave the room again. And so, why do you want to look in on your child's room? You want to look in because, okay, hey, that sounded a little bit off. I just want to see real quick. Or sometimes you'll hear a bang and you, oh my gosh, what was that? It could be that they just accidentally hit the wall. It could be, as they get a little older, they threw a book, right? There's any number of things that you say, I just want to look real quick. So that way I don't open the door and potentially open the door to uh, a protracted extraction to get out of the room again. Because if you've had kids, it can be really hard to leave that room. They're good negotiators. They will demand a lot from you. So fundamentally, you can look in the room. There's also two-way communication. So some people don't use it, but the ability to talk through the camera. So in some cases, as your kid gets a little bit older, they might say, "Mama, mama, mama," and they just won't stop. And what you want to do is say, "Okay, Jack, it's time for bed. I love you. Good night." And that way, again, you're not going physically into the room. Two-way communication can be really helpful. We've also built some really cool features in that will be available through our product, and really, it is not possible to do this with any of the other devices out there. One of the things that we have built in is smart audio. So parents can customize the level of noise or alert that they want. So for a 6-week old, 6-month old, you need to hear everything. But a 2-year old, you actually need to hear very, very little. You want to keep the monitor just in case for the 0.01% of times that you might actually need to go in. But I just think about, the nights where my kids' allergies are bad and they're sneezing or they're coughing. I don't need to hear just one cough. If they've fallen out of bed, if they're screaming, or if something's wrong, I want to know. But one cough, I don't want to hear that, because now it's 2 a.m. I'm awake. It could be another hour before I go back to sleep. Um, and so you can customize the level of alert that you would get. So you could say, unless it's loud or more than 3 seconds, I don't want to hear it. Now, that is entirely up to the level of the parent, and it should be age and health stage appropriate. But again, a 2-year-old, you can customize it and not get all of those alerts. But we've taken it one step further. So what we've enabled is haptic alerts on an Apple Watch. So I could say to my wife, if that threshold is reached, rather than the noise just instantly coming on here, and now everybody's awake, and Lord knows, especially moms, once they hear their children, it's very hard to go back to sleep. It is, I think, a little bit easier for us dads. But what I could do is I could set my Apple Watch to be the one that gets the alert. So instead of the sound immediately turning on, I'll get a vibration on my Apple Watch, and then I'll have 5 or 10 seconds to go over to the monitor and acknowledge that I'm awake. If I don't acknowledge that I'm awake, the monitor is going to turn on and make sure that you're awake, because we want that notion of fail safe. I can go and take care of my son, and I can go back to sleep. And there's a decent chance that my wife wouldn't wake up at all. And again, all we want to do is restore sleep and sanity to parenting. A lot of other really cool features. Everything's on the website. We've got a desktop app and a mobile app. So if you're at home working and your child's napping, you can have our desktop app. You can do picture in picture on the bottom right of your laptop or your computer, so that you can keep an eye on them while you're working. And we think that'll be a really great feature, especially with all these work from home parents these days.
Absolutely. I resonated with a few things that you said there for sure. I do work from home, and I have done it before. It was cool. Thank you. And so, yeah, I definitely used a monitor system for when I was working at home to kind of keep an eye on things. I got a little chuckle when you were talking about a 2-year-old. There's also a time when you might need to look at the monitor when it sounds too quiet in there, and you
Mm-hmm.
might want to see, like, perhaps we could be getting into slime that we shouldn't be.
Uh-huh.
Just from experience, perhaps I know about that. Just keeping an eye on kind of what's going on without interrupting their quiet time. Like my kids transition from naps to quiet time.
Yeah.
We also, believe it or not, I have elementary age kids, but we do still use monitors for some of the reasons that you just explained. And I like, it's not just for babies. You can keep it going on. One is my bedroom and my kiddos' bedrooms are very far from each other. We're on different floors.
Yeah.
I have one kiddo who has severe chronic asthma. I
Mm.
keep that monitor in her room because if
Mm-hmm.
she has having an asthmatic flare in the
Mm-hmm.
night, she does not have to get herself all the way awake, get herself composed, come all the way down the stairs to come wake me
Yes.
up to get assistance. I can either hear her over the monitor because her
Mm-hmm.
coughing wakes me up, or she can yell for me and that wakes me up and I can get my nebulizer, and we
Mm-hmm.
can treat her that way. So we have, kept a monitor in our kiddos' rooms to have
Yes.
that kind of communication
Yes.
back and forth whenever they are ill or need something. And I don't, again, I don't have it set to where I hear if they have to get up and go to the restroom or,
Yes.
every little thing. But if my one kiddo is sick or they need something or if they have an upset stomach, they can, get us a lot easier than having to traipse up and downstairs. So we have enjoyed, the practicalities of a monitor that way as well. So I love all
Absolutely.
of the bells and whistles that y'all have too, in the ways that you can travel with it and the different ways it can connect with other types of technology. Um, we'll just end with this last question. And
Yeah.
that is, all of this kind of like technology and Wi-Fi and apps, et cetera, and so forth, come with its own bag of like privacy and
Yes.
security and hacking and all these, like, you could go down a rabbit hole reading stories about this. So how have y'all tackled that aspect of technology?
Uh, Privacy and the security of your family and your children is central to how we have approached this. I take it very seriously personally. My co-founder, Charlie Hill, brilliant engineer. He was in the Army. He's got 2 young kids himself as well. He spent a career also on the development side, so he's very deeply steeped in all things confidentiality, privacy, cybersecurity. And so we made some core decisions from the very beginning. And some of this is a little more technical than some people want to know, and others will say, I'm very glad to know that they're thinking about it. So I'll give you a couple of the bullets. The first thing is we're using chips. The processor on the device itself are from American companies that produce the chips outside of China. And so from a security and a supply chain risk perspective, um, one of the bigger concerns that parents should have if they're buying electronics from somewhat no-name companies is where are the guts of the device made, and is there backdoor access based on the chips or the firmware on that device? And the reality is a lot of those companies can't actually guarantee that level of security because of the nature of the electronics inside the device. So we were very, very thoughtful about where the chips come from, which do all the processing and are the sort of horsepower of the device itself, And then the second thing is we are manufacturing these devices in India and Vietnam. And so these devices are made outside of China. There have been a lot of breaches and cybersecurity issues with electronics made in China in terms of hacking, backdoor access, and just an overall lack of confidence in the way that those devices have been made. It's not to say that every device made in China from an electronics perspective can't be relied upon, but most of the baby monitors that are, let's say, cheaper, again, you can find them on Amazon. They're kind of a dime a dozen, whether they're $20 to $200. You really can't guarantee that level of security. And unless you know, again, who's behind the company, where is it made, what are the electronics, what are the guts of the camera and the tablet themselves. The other thing that we've done is we have end-to-end encryption as a part of the product as it goes live and launches. So that is a level of security that is paramount. So that can help from a hacking perspective in a very big way. Another thing is, I'll just say, using good common sense. So there were some hacks. I won't say the company, but there are some well-known Wi-Fi camera company hacks a few years ago. And part of it was because the password requirements for your account, it did not require robust passwords. You know, when you go to enter password and it says it's not strong enough. And there was also no two-factor or multi-factor authentication, which is sort of like, hey, I'm going to send you a text message, send this code to ensure that you're who you say you are. And so people were using passwords that they shouldn't have used, like password or 123456789, for their security camera that was in their child's room. And so it wasn't necessarily like a crazy hacker who had, figured out some brute force methodology to get inside a very, people just guessed the password. And that's really creepy and wrong. But what we've done is we will require strong passwords. We will require backup authentications. And just thinking about it from a common sense perspective can help reduce the concerns and the risks that parents should have. And then lastly, the way that we design this product, there is a memory chip in our camera itself. And so with all these other Wi-Fi systems, they're sending your video and your saved moments to their cloud. Now, in some cases, it is their cloud and they're managing it. And in other cases, they're just renting some third-party cloud, which may or may not have reliable security. What we have done is all of your memories are stored on your device itself. And so if you're at home and your camera and your monitor are connected directly, we can't access them. It would be impossible for us to do so without you specifically granting us access. And then if you want to save down, I think about the first time I heard my kids say, a word in their crib, or I saved the moment when I put my daughter into her crib for the last time because we moved her to a big girl bed. Those moments are so special, and having these Wi-Fi cameras in your house, you can save moments that otherwise would have, just gone by and they would have just been a memory. We have it to where those moments are saved on your camera, and then you can save them down to your phone with just the push of a button. Super easy, very, very simple to grab, but they're on your camera. They're not on our cloud. And so we think that's one more kind of fundamental security differentiation that parents will be pretty excited about.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely, even more information as just a layperson who's not in this industry that I didn't realize was going on, and just kind of like your run of the mill off of Amazon monitor purchase. So that was really helpful. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yes, I like talking about this. This is very interesting
Yeah.
to me. As I mentioned before, we do have the article where we go over some of those things. And in that article, you can find lots of links. You can also go to harbor.co right there, and you can get all of your questions answered there. But you can also do some browsing of what's available and how to order and where you can get it and all of that information. So last thing you would like to share with our Dallas Moms followers about Harbor baby monitors?
I would say I hope parents find value in our system, and we would love to have them, be Harbor customers. But I am going to continue to try and spread the word, because I get to talk about baby monitors all the time, to discourage the use of these baby biometric devices. They're increasing the stress and anxiety of parenting. The American Academy of Pediatrics advises against them. And while I, again, would love everyone to be a Harbor customer, I want to make it easier for parents to get sleep and sanity back in their lives. It's already so stressful and so difficult to be a parent. Let's not make it more difficult to do so. And so, look, there are lots of options out there. We think we have the best one, and we're excited to start shipping those next year. But I want parents to rest a little easier and not add that additional stress to their lives. So I'm going to keep telling that story.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it, and that is why we love partnering with you, because Dallas Moms wants to be a place where we can provide resource and support and community for parents on this journey, because it isn't easy and it's tiring and you don't get a lot of sleep. So anything
Yeah.
we can do to help and keep our kiddos safe is a win for us. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.